Hello, and welcome to the podcast, You Should Ask My Sister. We're your hosts, Stephanie and Melissa Erdis, and we're welcoming you tonight. I'm Stephanie, and I'm going to turn it over to Melissa to tell you what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we're excited about this episode we've been talking a lot about this episode. We talk a lot throughout the entire week, and wrapping up this year it's just very unique in the environment that everyone is in and all the things that are changing. And so we're keeping all material as light and fun as possible. And as we were trying to decide what to talk about this time, we were in a conversation about our holidays and what it's going to look like and how it's going to be different. And we were brainstorming things to do while we're both home because we're usually running all over, trying to get stuff done. It's going to be very different. So we got into a long conversation about like what we could watch, what Christmas movies we can watch and other things. I really like Christmas movies, so I had a lot to say about it. Steph had some input as well. And so we kind of were talking about this list of what to watch, and we thought we'd share with you guys.
Yeah, we're excited about this episode. We were really talking about what is something really fun we could do now. I think we are both feeling a lot of December stress with work and holidays. I know I'm really feeling it. I woke up at like 3:30 the other morning, like panicked about getting packages in the mail. Who does that? It's fine. but I'm really feeling that. So for all of you that are also feeling that, this is just going to be fun, chatting about movies, talking about some stuff to get us in the Christmas holiday spirit. So Melissa's really the expert on this. I am not. So I want to start out by asking her why she likes Christmas movies. Because what you all should know is Melissa doesn't really love watching movies. Like if she has a choice between television or a television series or a season of television, she always picks that over like a movie. And so I'm super curious. I don't know the answer to this. And I don't remember us watching a lot of Christmas movies when we were children. So what happened since we've lived together so long ago?
I don't remember watching a lot of them either growing up. And Stephanie is right. I don't like movies at all, mainly because I can't sit still for 2 hours and never could, never want to. So that's why I kind of gravitate towards TV. But there's something about Christmas movies that I like. They end happy. They have to do with Christmas fun and celebrating. Christmas has been one of my favorite holidays. And yeah, I just jumped on the holiday train.
You and Aunt Pat. Aunt Pat loves Christmas movies too. Like she's part of the inspiration for this specifically because we've talked about Christmas movies with her. She specifically likes the Hallmark Channel and their Christmas movies, but like all Christmas movies. So with that, Liz, what are your top Christmas movies? What are your favorite Christmas/holiday movies?
So I do watch some Hallmark, Lifetime, but that's more rare for me. I'm a classic Christmas movie kind of person, and when I say classic, it's from 2000 on. So like
I don't think that's the definition of classic. That's your definition of classic.
The art of watching Christmas movies.
The art of watching Christmas movies? Are you serious? Oh my gosh. This is too much. Okay, what are your favorites?
So my number one favorite will always be Elf. I remember the first time I watched it, I laughed out loud, which I don't normally do for any kind of TV. So when I laugh out loud, it's very funny. It was just a movie where I could kind of shut my brain off and enjoy. It wasn't one that brought a lot of stress and anxiety. I can't watch movies where multiple things go wrong throughout the entire movie. Like it totally stresses me out.
Too stressful.
It reminds me of like waking up from a nightmare when I couldn't get dressed in time to get to school or find my locker. And I'm still having those, and like, I can't do that. And so I love this one. Like a couple things go wrong. There's family fun. It's just clean fun. And I love it. I have elf pajamas. I'm drinking out of an elf mug. And yes, I do have syrup in it.
Oh no, syrup. It's one of the food groups of elves.
Yeah. I put syrup in my coffee.
So because Elf is such a classic and so many people have seen it, do you have a favorite scene or a favorite line from Elf? Because there are so many quotable, amazing lines in that movie.
I don't I have so many, and there are really important things that I can't remember, but every line to that movie is something I will never forget. The one where he was in the office with his dad and the phone rang and he picked it up and said, "Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?"
Can you please answer the phone like that sometime tomorrow? Tomorrow's like or
At
maybe
work?
even Monday or Tuesday. Yeah,
At
like,
work?
please answer the phone and be like, "Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?"
I probably will. They know me. They won't. They'll be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, yeah." We used to when before COVID and working from home. There was two guys that I worked with in the office where we would just from after Thanksgiving on just go back and forth with Elf quotes, and it's just funny. Anything in a movie, it was he's an angry elf or something like all of it. Just really, really funny. I have already watched it a couple times this year. It's something I can have in the background. So that's definitely number one. The other one I just found a couple years ago. It is for adults only. It is definitely a more risque language movie.
There's drugs.
Yeah. Oh,
Drugs,
yeah.
alcohol, violence, a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But I totally laughed. Like I thought it was so funny. So you have to, if you don't like that stuff, it's not for you. But if you can watch it with a grain of salt and just enjoy the acting, Office Christmas Party, just I don't know. It's one of those other ones I went in not expecting very much, and I laughed really hard. I love Jason Bateman. I thought he did great in this, as he does in any character he's in, and I just thought it was really funny.
When Jennifer Aniston is so funny in this movie, I like this movie too. But are you gonna tell the story about how we first watched this movie?
Yeah, it was. Or was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Mhm. 2 years ago.
Steph and my friend Kelly flew in for my birthday in Georgia, and we ended up getting like 4 inches of snow on a Friday afternoon, which no one expected. And so we got snowed into my apartment because Georgia shuts down if it's even cold. So this unexpected snowstorm was just, it was over. And we watched this movie like 4 times.
Mhm. It was just, like, on repeat in the
Yes.
background. We watched it so many times, and we just stop what we were doing and watch a scene and, like, laugh our heads off and then go back to
Yeah.
doing whatever we were doing.
Then we go to
Um,
sleep and we turn it on with coffee in the morning just all weekend. It was and I watched it again this year, like, I just find it very, very funny.
it's
Especially
also about siblings. Like, all
yeah,
of these movies have like, many of these movies have an element of, like, siblingship in them, which is really fun.
yes, I totally agree. They also make a reference to Fast and the Furious, and I won't ruin it, but that line is my favorite because he was talking about Vin Diesel, like, jumping cars, and the other character's like, "I never watched it." He was like, "What do you mean? They only get more fast, more furious." And I lost it. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, it has great lines in it. It's but I would say I would reiterate what Liz said. It's definitely adults only. Like, it's a lot of adult content, which is part of what makes it probably funny for adults, but it's not a kids movie.
No.
So Elf, Office Christmas Party, what is yeah, you have 2 more. What's your next one?
Yeah, so the classic Home Alone, and that is classic. I like Home Alone 1. Home Alone 2 was not my favorite, although I did have that in video game form. I think it was for Sega, so it was really fun.
Sega.
But but I have always loved Home Alone 1. I just that was probably one we grew up watching,
Mhm.
and I still every time it's on, I have it in the background. I really like it. It's funny. And then my last one is I probably watch this one less, but the lines in it and the acting and just the classic version of this, the Christmas Vacation. Like it's just one that again I thought was really funny, and I probably watch about once a year. It's not one that I like always have on, but once a year it makes me laugh.
I, was surprised this was on your list because this I'm not a huge fan of this movie because it stresses me out and because I feel like everything is constantly going wrong. So yeah, I was like, "Oh," and you just said, like, you don't like movies where everything is going wrong. But the sled riding scene really does kind of
Yeah.
make up for it. I think I love that scene. That's my favorite one.
I feel like I'm so passive with this one. I was never truly like invested in it to like get real. It was just one of those like, you know how you the Christmas Story. No, what's the one where he gets the bunny pajamas?
The Christmas Story, I think.
Yeah. So like we watched that in 100 segments because it ran 24 hours a day, and you never really pieced it together as a story until like we were older. I've never watched it beginning to end. And I think
Yeah, I never have either. I have no idea what actual order that movie goes in. I just
yeah,
know all the pieces and parts.
I feel like I'm the exact same way with Christmas Vacation. Like I know the part where he's sled riding, I know the part where they're like cutting down the tree, and like different pieces of it, but I've never watched it. I didn't start watching it from beginning to end to be able to have that like stress out moment that I usually do. And,
Um,
and I'm going to add another one, especially, but this goes into the adult only uh, piece. And I know that Steph hasn't seen this, so I'll mention it. But Bad Moms Christmas, I laughed out loud. It has to do with mother daughter relationships, I think more. But there is a lot of funny pieces, and I would recommend that too. A late night, no kids around movie.
that has so many good people in it. I
Mhm.
haven't seen it, but like I love Christine Baranski and Kristen Bell, and like it has some really cool people in it. So I believe that's a good movie. I wanted to go back to what you said about Home Alone too. Um, I I like Home Alone because we did kind of grow up with it. But one of the reasons I liked it is I remember the first time we saw it. Mom took us to the theater to see it, like over Thanksgiving. And so we were all watching it. We were all laughing about it. And I watched a documentary about it, I think last Christmas, and like how they made it and like different kind of inside trivia parts of it. And it just really brought me back to like that, like we were like teens and tweens, like middle school age when she took us to see that when it came out. And it's just this great like kind of holiday memory of us all like getting to watch that movie together. So I like that movie because I remember where we were when we saw it the first time.
I think when it links back to like when the first time you watch it from beginning to end, and it like makes you laugh, because that's how I feel about Elf
Mhm.
too. Like both of those, I remember the first time we watched it. It was in the theater. I was in college for Elf. I think it just makes the love for the movie a little bit, deeper.
Yeah.
So
Well, good. Thanks for sharing those.
yeah, your section on this outline is blank. So I'm I'm very interested in if you even like a Christmas movie.
That's a good question. I don't really have a favorite Christmas movie, but I'll tell you why. So I don't like to watch movies over and over again. So I don't have like a favorite movie I like watch every Christmas. What I will say is there are a couple of movies that I will watch over and over again that are Christmas or holiday movies. So my number one, I really only have one that I watch pretty much every Christmas is Die Hard. Die Hard 1. Die Hard 2 is also a Christmas movie, but the first Die Hard is that's my Christmas movie that I watch. I watched it like the 2nd of December this year. I was like, yeah, let's just get some Die Hard up in here and get some Christmas spirit going. Um, and we got snowed in. I mean, being from Western Pennsylvania, I mean, I know you're in Georgia now, I'm in Maryland, but so many times around Christmas, like plans have shifted because of weather. Like I've woken up in the morning sometimes and dad will be like, you got to get out of here by 10 o'clock or you're not leaving for 3 days. And I'm like, okay, I'm packing up everything after Christmas. Or like I come in a day or two late because of a snowstorm. And a couple of years ago, this was 10 plus years ago, I had this like little journey mapped out. Like I was going to go to Pittsburgh and visit friends, and then I was going to Cleveland, and then I was going home. And I ended up in Pittsburgh, and I got there, left work, had everything packed up for the holidays. I was like, this was more than 10 years ago. And I got snowed in Pittsburgh hardcore with my friends, and we watched Die Hard all weekend. And so I have like really good memories of like, everyone's like, what Christmas movies should we watch? And I was afraid they would make me watch something like Love Actually, which I don't like. If you love that movie, I'm sorry. I don't like it. You can leave me nasty comments about it. But I was like, Die Hard, let's watch Die Hard. And so yeah, so that's the one that I watch over and over again. I also like Rent the musical, and I like the one with Jimmy Stewart in it. Like It's a Wonderful Life. I do like that one. I find that to be a touching tale that I will watch every couple Christmases or so. Yeah. So those are, it's hard for me because I don't have like a favorite that I watch every year. But I will say this year, I had no idea how many Christmas movies there were. But now that I have like 3 streaming services because of COVID, I am like, wow, there's a lot of Christmas movies. And I have very, very much enjoyed watching some new holiday movies, specifically some movies about Santa, which I think are the best ones. Um, yeah, so we're gonna review some new-ish Christmas movies for you. So Liz is gonna go first, and you're gonna review Christmas Chronicles 1, the first movie, right?
Yeah, this came out last year around
2 years ago. I think it came out. Did it come out last year?
last year.
Good Lord. What
Last
year
year.
is it? What's going on?
I don't know. I know it wasn't this year because a new one came out this year, but it was around Thanksgiving, and around Thanksgiving you have some downtime. So I was with a friend and we're like, "Oh, let's watch this one. It's brand new on Netflix." And I was surprised at how much I liked this movie. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really relevant, like very present humor. Kurt Russell's awesome. Like he was really, really good in it. And a lot of Christmas movies, I think this is why I don't necessarily get into all the Hallmark or Lifetime. It usually has to do with a parent that has passed. Like every single one, it is all the time.
Yeah,
And
that's true. They
and
love to start out that way, don't they?
yeah, always, because I think it jolts what people feel around the holidays. Totally does. We can relate. But this one didn't surround with like that pain necessarily. It was a whole story about these two siblings. Like they're having a rough Christmas, so they just had lost a parent, and then they go on this massive adventure. And they had a strained relationship at the beginning, and they had this huge story, and it ended up with great ending because that's what happens. And I really, really liked it.
It's so cute. So this year they came out. I'm gonna spoil the end of it for you, the end of Christmas Chronicles 1, because it's part of my review on Christmas Chronicles 2. So Kurt Russell, who plays Santa Claus, he plays like kind of a badass Santa,
Mhm.
which I loved that like image of Santa. It wasn't like this like overweight, jolly person. It was like this like cool dude kind of, as only Kurt Russell probably could have done. But everyone knows his partner, Goldie Hawn, they've been together for a really long time. And at the very end of the movie, so if you haven't seen it, she does a cameo as Mrs. Claus. So he gets home from his long night of delivering presents and she's there and it's adorable. She has like 3 lines, but she's like so charming in this part. So in Christmas Chronicles 2, that came out this year, she has a full-fledged role. And they take you through like the whole Christmas village. So some of the same characters, but some new characters. And we just talked about Fast and the Furious, which was not the point of this podcast to go in that direction, but sometimes you just let it flow. So one of the characters from those movies, Tyrese Gibson, I think that is how you say his name. He played Roman on Fast and the Furious. He is like in this Christmas movie, and I guarantee he started out as a model. I guarantee when he started out as a model for like Calvin Klein or whoever, he was like not thinking he would end up in a Christmas movie with Brad Paisley's wife. So I'm like he did such a good job. He was so cute. He doesn't have a huge part because he plays one of the parents. But I just thought he was just such this like sweet little surprise. And there's a new sibling, or possibly soon to be step sibling that's in it. He's a little boy, maybe like second, third grade age. He is adorable. I was instantly in love with him. And he has a great scene where he is like defending the North Pole village with a Nerf gun. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is literally every child's dream. I was like, I want a Nerf gun from Santa this year because I need to defend the North Pole village. Yeah, it was so sweet. It had such a sweet story. It was about siblingship. So I thought that was really great. And I think what I liked the most about the second one is the behind the scenes look into Santa's village is always like a fun way to approach it. But it gave Goldie Hawn like some real agency as Mrs. Claus. And she has like this kind of like good witch like magic. And I thought that was really cool. That it was like, hey, we have like this figure that we've always seen as kind of like old and maybe even a little frumpy that makes cookies. And they really turned her into like this kind of good witch magical creature that like is very much a part of the Santa Claus mission of getting presents to children. She designed the whole village, and there's good lines about that. So I liked that. I like the idea in both of these movies that like Santa is cool because Santa is cool, and that Christmas and Santa's work is hard. Like Santa has hard work to do. I like it portraying like it's magic, but it's also hard work, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. So that's what I liked about Christmas Chronicles too.
And Santa doesn't do the hard work himself, which what she talks about Santa's village and the naming of that, the marketing around that. And there is some really funny lines that we both really liked. So a side note, you did not ask Santa for Nerf guns, but if that is a request, you might want to write a letter because Santa owns several. So if they need to end up in Pennsylvania, you need to let Santa
you know now.
in 24 hours.
Wasn't that scene so cute? It immediately made me think of you because I was like, this was totally Melissa every Christmas. She just needed something to defend because she had the artillery.
Yeah, it was so cute. He was my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as good as the first one, although I feel like I should watch it again and give it more of a try because it's all about expectation. My expectation was so high or so low for the first one because I was just like, whatever, I'll watch this. And then I was like waiting for the second one and it was a little bit different. It also brought in a little bit more of a like evil presence. The first one really didn't have. It was just this adventure and a little bit lighter and good, bad, indifferent. It was just a little bit different, but I did like it. And I love that Goldie Hawn was in it more and played a bigger role.
Yeah, she's so charming in it, and like she has such a smart character. She brings such a like sense of like style and agency to this role as Mrs. Claus. Like she did a great job. It's a super fun movie, like very, very fun to watch.
So I am not snowed in. I'm in Georgia. I'm actually a little jealous of all the snow that Pennsylvania got. I'm sure I'll change my tune in like a week when I'm there. But I have been very closed in this last week. I'm trying to be very responsible before I head north. And so this conversation is something Steph and I have talked a lot about. Like, what are you watching? What's funny? What should you watch? There was a meme that came out that said, I'm either watching true crime or Christmas movies. I'm either slaying or I'm slaying. I've never seen a meme that was more like me ever. Like, I've literally put from Dateline to Elf to Dateline to something else in the last week because I haven't watched this much TV all year. So I don't know if you have or not, but I watched a movie last year that at first I was like, I don't know. And then I watched it again in like a lighter mood and I laughed almost the whole time. Did you watch the Netflix Noelle?
Yes, because we were talking about this a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie was so funny. I laughed out loud. I was like, I am going to like wake up the people in my house because I'm laughing so hard at this movie. It was one of the funniest Christmas movies. It was so funny. I thought it was like kind of right up there. If you like Elf, you would like this movie. It's right up there with some of the themes of Elf.
Yeah, I think it definitely underlines like a theme of Elf. It is a cheeseball movie. Like the lines are cheesy. Like you have to go into it. Maybe some spiked hot chocolate or something, but it's very fun. It can be very funny. And it has a definite feminist twist to a lot of, Santa's a guy. This is what happened. This was a nice little spin on, and who was the actress? She was great.
So Anna Kendrick is the main lead. And she plays Santa's daughter. And when Santa passes away, the oldest son takes over. And her brother doesn't want to be Santa. And so that starts the conflict of like, well, girls can't be Santa. And so that's kind of the feminist bend to it. Shirley MacLaine is also in it. And they both have amazing like comic timing. Like her comedy, both Anna Kendrick and Shirley MacLaine, is spot on in this movie. It's so adorable in the way that they kind of go about this, like, how do we fill Santa's shoes? And again, it's like Santa's work is hard work. Like it's hard to be Santa. And so I like that theme of like Santa is magic, but Santa's also a hard worker. So I really loved that theme. It goes in a couple different directions too that I think are really interesting. Like it talks about like a little bit about kind of what it's like for children that are homeless at Christmas. So there's like a bend there. It talks a little bit about like family obligation versus, what you want to do. And just the whole time it talks about changing traditions. There's like some characters that their Christmas is going to be different and they don't know how to feel about that. So just like lots of really interesting kind of directions that this like little movie goes in. And it passes the Bechdel test. For those of you that don't know about the Bechdel test, it's two women in a movie talking about something other than relationships. And so, like, so many movies just kind of make women one dimensional. And this really kind of explores a couple different ways. It's still a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie isn't like groundbreaking feminism. So if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find it on Netflix.
No.
Like you're going to have to go somewhere else. But
it's fun.
like, it's really a sweet movie and I very, very much enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you recommended it because it came out a couple years ago. It's not new this year.
No, I found it last year and it wasn't something that was like advertised in my face. I think I was looking for something and I was like, oh yeah, I'll try this. The girl from Pitch Perfect. And at first I was like 10 minutes in and I was like, this may be too cheesy for me. But then I just embraced the funny lines and it was a good one. It's good for kids to watch. It's a good if you have some extra time around the holidays, which I think some people may. I do have another question for Steph in the theme of Christmas. I have a very long drive coming up. I decided to drive home this year instead of fly. And so my question would be, what is your top Christmas song? What should I be downloading for my sleigh ride north?
That is such a tough question.
It's so easy.
Yeah, it's so easy. No, it's a hard question. There's lots of Christmas music out there. Some of it good, some of it not. But I have a lot of Christmas music. Like I own a lot because I always used to have to drive home. And for a long time it was like a 5-hour drive home. And so you would sometimes send me like a CD when CDs were a thing. And then I download a bunch of stuff so that I have a good playlist. I love all the carols, of course. Who doesn't love a little Hark the Herald?
Mm.
That really gets your blood pumping. But kind of commercial wise, I love that Smashing Pumpkins one. I love the Christmas Story song that they sing. That's probably like my favorite. So I love those A Very Merry Christmas albums. So those are my favorite. Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel also both have holiday albums that are top notch. Kristen Chenoweth's is really like bright and shiny and they're both Broadway stars. They both starred opposite each other in Wicked. And so she has a very like peppy kind of Christmas album. And then Idina Menzel's is a little bit, it's a little bit different, like a real rich like sound to it, some really great tunes. So those would be some of the ones I would probably put on my list. Yeah, this is where I think we're going to differ though. This is where we do not agree. So what are you going to put on your album or your Christmas list?
I mean,
playlist anyway.
Your songs were, very mature and cultured and mine are classics. So I was literally driving away from sunrise on Thanksgiving morning and I was in a car full of my friends and someone gave me the phone for the playlist and I went straight to the Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
It was time. You can at me. I don't care. I like it. And my second is NSYNC. Happy Holidays.
No, that is your second favorite Christmas song? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Of course it is. But I can say that we both actually have one favorite song. It's a family favorite song that very, very, it's almost like our own family little secret. Like no one really knows about it. And since we were little, like super little record player, little, we sang Christmas carols, like the CD of Christmas carols. And they're really old. They were old when we were babies. So old, but there's one called Must Be Santa, and
Mhm.
our family can sing it like angels. We really can.
Can we? Can we really sing it like angels? That's not how I always remember it. But we definitely can sing it. We can belt that song out. And for a long time, we thought, like us and our cousins thought we were the only people that actually knew that song because you never ever heard it. You never heard it on the radio. It's a really old classic song, Must Be Santa. I would agree. That's one of my favorites. So,
So
yeah, if you have not heard it,
that would be
Must Be Santa.
my absolute favorite, but Mariah,
Well, after Mariah Carey and Backstreet 98 Degrees Sync, whatever that was, In Sync. Like, after those two as your top two, I'm glad you came up with Must Be Santa because I was getting worried that we weren't actually related there for a minute.
though.
This is like where we totally differ. I'm like, how are we sisters when Mariah Carey's your number one song?
Well,
And we probably have listeners. They probably all are siding with you. They're probably like, no,
no,
Melissa's right. That is number one.
I highly doubt it. But when we're like locked in the same house next week, all hunkered down, I have more technology than you, so it's gonna be my playlist. Just remember that.
Oh, no.
Bring your headphones.
I'm gonna bring headphones. But listen, you can have a dream that you're gonna be belting out Mariah Carey in Jamestown, and I can have a dream that I'm gonna be listening to Broadway stars sing Christmas carols. We're both wrong. We're
No.
gonna be listening to Willie Radio country music sing along for like 5 days straight because Dad has he has every radio in the house. Radio tuned to that, and those radio speakers are gonna blow out your Bluetooth any day. Like, it's gonna be Willie country all the way.
He is surround sound on Willie Country, and he doesn't turn the radio off. He just turns the volumes down and goes to the next room and turns that one up, and out to the porch and turns that one up. So it really is surround sound, Willie Nation. So we'll both bring headsets home.
Maybe we'll just all be sitting there listening to different Christmas music. I like Dad's Willie Radio. It'll be fun. There's some really great classic radio.
Yeah.
Country radio songs. I mean, Dolly Parton is the best, absolutely. So, and she's like so great at Christmas. She's like, if they gave out gold medals for Christmas, one should go to Dolly Parton. She's great at Christmas. One should probably go to Mariah Carey. She's also great at Christmas. So yeah, we'll be listening to that next week. So yeah, enjoy your car ride home with 98 Sync Street. I don't 98 degrees. No, it was In Sync, right? I'm not good with the boy bands.
We'll just keep this podcast moving. So, we wanted to give you a little fun for episode 4 before you roll into the holidays. We hope everyone stays safe and healthy and understands that this year could be a little different, but just stay safe and love the people that you are with near and far, and be really appreciative of what you have. We are really appreciative of everyone that has listened to us and reached out to us. We miss all of you. I got an overwhelming amount of birthday messages. I feel like the podcast might have had something to do with that. They were amazing. I had an amazing birthday. And so we really appreciate all of you. We are very thankful for you. We want to make sure that you have a very blessed and happy holiday. And then when we start into the new year, we have other topics that we would like to venture into. But we're going to end the year with a little bit of resolution. So we'll talk while we're together in Pennsylvania, as long as all weather and everything cooperates. We're going to talk a little bit about 2021, what we're looking forward to, what we're going to take from 2020. And so I'm really looking forward to that episode. And if any of you have any questions you want to ask us pertaining to 2021, make sure you get us at either at Lissy_Ertis on Instagram or woman_in_the_wild on Instagram, or the YouTube channel, You Should Ask My Sister. We love to hear from you guys. There's a million ways to get a hold of either of us. So make sure you are listening, and we really appreciate it.
Excellent. So I am going to end our episode about movies with a joke. I'm so excited to tell this joke. But before I do, I want to do some shout outs. So at our last episode, we were talking about like different traditions. And so our friend Sarah Saylor, like she sent this great message to us. She listens to us, and her mom, Jerry, also listens to us. And she was telling us that she shares one of our traditions, and she buys her girls. She has two little girls, so they're two little sisters. Christmas pajamas that they get to open the night before Christmas. So just like Melissa and I. So a special Merry Christmas to them. Thank you, Sarah and Jerry, for listening. And Merry Christmas to your girls. Know that, maybe 30 years from now, they'll still be doing that for each other. Like Melissa and I just wrapped Melissa's yesterday.
I cannot wait for you to open your pajamas.
My Christmas pajamas. I'll give you all an update at our next podcast about.
I won't ruin the surprise, but they are awesome.
Well, Melissa's going to be really surprised because only half of hers came in the mail. I've been tracking the other half for 3 weeks, and it's probably not coming.
So I almost spit out my drink. I was going to say, we'll open these pictures and then post a picture of us in, but maybe it's not appropriate if I
You only have half pajamas. No. I'm not going to lie. Maybe they'll get here, but tracking stuff in the mail right now is like walking over hot coals. It's a terrible, terrible thing. So for all of you that are tracking stuff, I'm sorry. It's terrible.
There was a meme that came out that said, stop checking your tracking. It's in God's hands now.
Yeah, it is in God's hands. And I went to the post office yesterday because I was, trying to get packages out before the winter storm that we had here. And yeah, it's in God's hands, and bless all the people that work at the U.S. Post Office, because those people are working super hard. So if you know anyone that works in there, or if you be kind to those people, because they are really working very hard right now.
FedEx, UPS,
so yeah,
all of them have been.
UPS, FedEx,
we put them to work.
People that drive around. Amazon has its own vans now. I was like, wow, it's wild out there. So hopefully you get your packages delivered, and we'll have to do something for Melissa's pajamas because only half of them are actually here.
I'll take a picture and just put censored over the half that I don't have.
Stay tuned on that fun. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year to all of our listeners. And I'm going to leave you with a little present. This is my joke for you. So, Liz, what do you get when you eat Christmas decorations? Tinselitis. Like tonsillitis, only with tinsel, like tinselitis. It's even funnier when I explain it afterwards. Like you might not have gotten how funny it was.
Yeah. I can't believe you made fun of me for my Christmas music, but ended with that.
That joke was hilarious. So you're all welcome.
You're right.
Tinselitis is the punchline. So thank you for joining us this week. Drop us some messages, some comments. Tell us what your favorite Christmas movies, Christmas music is. You can make fun of our selections if you want. I'm going to be making fun of Melissa's for a while. Thank you all for being here. You have been listening to You Should Ask My Sister with your hosts, Stephanie and Melissa Erdis, and we will see you soon.
Happy holidays.